Good morning, all you fine folks. Good to see you live.
Good morning.
Joy deep in my soul. I got joy from my head to my toes. I want to share it, share it, share it with the whole world. It's joy, a blanket of love for me and you. Cover the fears we all go through. Joy, a smile when light loves dark. Let the sun melt the pain in your heart. You can heal it, heal it, heal it with peace of joy. Let your essence be your guide, connecting you to the divinest smile. Smile on your best. Sometimes life kicks you around, but you need to get up, get your feet back on the ground. Deep in my soul, I got joy from my head to my toes. I want to share it, share it, share it with all you fine folks here today. It's joy, a blanket of love for me and you. Cover the fears we all go through. Joy, I got this joy down deep in my soul. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? It's out of control. Gonna share it, the whole wide world. This joy down deep in my soul. Thank you so much. Everyone's got their own perception. When we grow up, our history can't gain. Perception can sometimes be deception, but it turns transform. Choose to believe. You're making the best time here. Shall we make the best of this bad situation? We can replay one.
Yes, Kim Yarson. Oopsie. Mask and mic don't go together. And I know all of you love to wear masks properly, right? I don't love it at all. But I know it's a way to keep one another safe. And so we're grateful that you're willing to cooperate with us. So we have Kim Yarson and Joe Jakubicki here together from Mother and Son, talented Mother and Son. So we're really happy. Good morning. To all of you who are here in the house, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching from live stream. We're doing both, and how wonderful that is and how wonderful that has been. So we move into celebration together. I want to tell you a couple of things that are really fun, because today is, actually this week is National Volunteer Week. And we have some people around that are very active volunteers and have been very active volunteers. You know who you are. Right now we see Fernando and we see Michael and we see Tammy, and I know that Margaret has done wonderful things for us, and Joan has been a wonderful greeter, and Patricia has been volunteering for years, and we have Monica over here. So we have volunteers in the house. I know it's Grace who volunteered for class. So it's National Volunteer Week, and so we have Michael Mallack today, who's a very active volunteer in many areas, assisting today. And Michael also has a podcast, so check him out on Spotify, Q to Coach. And the flowers are a gift from Jean Lee, who's also been a wonderful volunteer at our center. And she says, take some of them home if you like to take a flower or two home with you. Last year we had 4 seasonal Save Us Superstars, which happens every 3 months, and it was Monica was one time. Yes, and Christine Goldthwait, who does our beautiful weekly Constant Contact, and then we had Jean Lee, we had Vern Miller. So we do honor and celebrate our volunteers. I want to let you know that we have some amazing events coming up, so be sure to check our website or check us out on Facebook, because they're posted there. There's a couple I'm going to tell you about in a minute, but the one I want you to know about is on the 23rd. Rhonda Dene is doing a concert for us, a fundraising concert. So check that out, and that's also on our website. So that's going to be on a Friday night. See you there. And we have Kat Roman, Fernando's wife, doing a mandala drawing and coloring workshop, which is really fun. And on the 5th of May, we have another blood drive, so come and join us for that. But let's do what we do the best in our community, which is affirmative prayer. So join me by closing your eyes, and let's know together that we live in a spiritual universe that ever gives, ever loves, and ever moves in a more expanded way. And this universe, we're not just in it, it is in us, for there is no separation, there's only the oneness of all life. And so the more we open to this divine flow, the more we experience it in our lives, and I think we can all look back and say, yes, there is more of it now. And in the more, I can trust that life is unfolding in sweet perfection, that I'm given everything that I need, which is true for each of us, and that we are collectively blessed to be consciously aware of the spiritual life that we are living, that we are consciously experiencing the light that moves through our being and dissolves whatever is in the way, that we can trust that we have what we need and that our evolution is in divine right action. So today we explore some questions. Why me? And why not me? And wow, me as an answer. And that is available to each and every one of us today, tomorrow, and forevermore. And so it is. So, I have a question for you. And it relates to the theme that we are going through in April, which is stepping into the unknown, stepping into the mystery. We sometimes get caught that this life, this experience is all there is, but we know better, right? We know that there's more. And so stepping into the unknown is stepping into the more and opening to the greater experience that is available to us. So my question to you is, do you ever, or have you ever in your life said, why me? Yes? Can I have an example? And again, it's not good or bad, it's just an experience, part of our experience, right? When have you said that? Why me? Anyone? No one has ever said that?
Stuck in traffic?
When you're stuck in traffic, why me? Good one, Joe. Yes.
Behind somebody in the grocery line who's like taking forever with returns and this and that.
Yes, when you're behind somebody in the grocery line, you scope them out and you think that one's going to move the fastest and it goes the slowest and you go, why me? Or maybe when you hear some sad news, or maybe when you have to pay taxes, or maybe when you hear a health diagnosis, or maybe when you realize you have less money in the bank account than you thought and you overdrew, right? We all have those moments, right, where we go, why me? And it's rarely said with joy, right? And so the why me is a part in our evolution where we go from why me, and it can change tone, right, to why not me, to wow, me, and that's what I want to talk about today. And so it has a feeling connected to it, and usually the feeling is some kind of anxiety or worry or fear or limitation, and that's because it's tapping into the mystery. Why me is saying, I don't know what's happening. But when we put a little spark of joy in it, when we put a little bit more conscious awareness into it, it starts a reflection process that opens us up to not only knowing ourselves better and each other, but knowing how life flows. Knowing that consciousness creates our reality and we get to see a snippet more of it. And so the why question sometimes is a tough question. Dr. Ernest Holmes used to say, don't ask why, ask how. Because why has too many possible answers, and how do we know it's the right one? The how question is taking ownership, taking responsibility, being willing to learn a few things and to grow. So to me, it's about let's milk the why me concept. Let's milk it. Let's get the goodies out of it. Let's become more conscious. Let's become more curious and more interested in how we think and how that shows up in our life experience. Because life is so incredibly rich, and the richness of life wants to reveal itself to you, not in what you've experienced in the past, not what you know from past history, but from what's possible next, what wants to be known, what wants to be revealed, what wants to be experienced. And so it's a process of evolution. Why me to why not me to wow me. We are reading this book in our reading circle, which is a book group that meets every week on Zoom. And it's really been fun. We meet for an hour and a half, and anybody can come at any time, whether you read the book or not, just come. And on page 57, which is the section we're reading this week, it has 15 secrets, 15 chapters. And this secret number 4, this chapter is called What You Seek, You Already Are. And he says this whole book, being about the mystery of life, returns to the unknown many times. Who do you think you are is not real, but a concoction of past events, desires, and memories. This concoction has a life of its own. It motors forward through time and space, experiencing only those things that it knows. A new experience isn't really new. It's just a slight twist on very familiar sensations. To open yourself to the unknown means cutting the ground out from under your familiar reactions and habits. Notice how often the same words come out of your mouth. The same likes and dislikes dictate what you do with your time. The same people fill your life with routine. All of this familiarity is like a shell. The unknown is outside the shell, and to encounter it, you have to be willing to welcome it. So we are invited to surrender to the evolution of moving from the unknown to the known, from the known to the unknown, in a more conscious, welcoming, embracing way. Because when we fear it and when we resist it and when we approach it with anxiety, there's a different outcome. And you know this, right? So why not me? Why not me? It's an adventure. If you're in traffic and you're running late and you go, why me? How about we start practicing? Why not me? Why would I not get in traffic and be stuck in traffic ever? It's part of life. Disease, illness. Why not? Why not me? Why not you? Loss. Not why me, but why not? When we ask the question, why not, we realize that it's a part of life. This is part of our life experiences. And they're not there to torment and torture us. It's there to awaken us to our spiritual magnificence. And it's there to grow us. So why would we not want to embrace that? And so what we move from is this idea that life is happening to me, to life is happening for me. And life is happening to grow me. And it happens not against anything. It happens for our good. Because what we need to navigate through life is already available, it's already within us. We just don't know it yet. We haven't seen it yet. And so the other reason why we might want to say, why not me, is because it makes life a heck of a lot more interesting. If I say, why me? It's kind of not very interesting, right? Oh yeah, well, why? But why not me? Kind of like goes like, oh, that's interesting. Let me get a little bit more curious. And so, even when life seems to be at its worst, asking why not me still makes it more interesting. So there's a person I'm going to tell you about, and I want you to listen and think about who that could possibly be. Who this person could possibly be. This person was imprisoned many times. This person, at that time of history, received 39 lashes, 5 times. Back then, the legal limit was 39 lashes as a punishment. This person was beaten with rods 3 times. This person was stoned, beaten, dragged out of the city, and left for dead. He shipwrecked 3 times. The last time, he spent a whole day and a whole night, is what history says, on a piece of the shipwreck and survived again. And during his life, as he was spreading the good word and spreading the wisdom that he believed in, he was constantly in danger. If it wasn't people, it was wild animals, it was cold, or it was hunger. Anybody want to guess who that was? It was Paul from the Bible. This is what he wrote after all this happened to him. One of the things he wrote. It's in Romans 8:28. And we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to God's purpose. And we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to God's purpose. That's what he wrote after all that happened to him. I would call him a man of faith. Do we have that much faith? Do we have that much of a sense of deep connection to the divine that we know that no matter what happens to us, we have within us a love that crosses all boundaries, a wisdom that is infinite, a strength and a courage that is beyond measure? That's what I want. It's the kind of faith I want. And finding myself navigating through life with a chronic health condition, I am so committed to that kind of faith. I am so knowing that no matter what happens, I say, wow, me. Why not? Why not? I don't know if you have any examples where you turned a why me into a wow me, but if you do, shout it out. Do you have anything where you turned a why me into a wow me or a why not me? A health challenge, anyone? A financial challenge, anyone? Yeah, relationship issues? Yeah, health? Yeah, right?
Exiting a career and taking a chance on something brand new.
Exiting a career and taking a chance on something brand new. Yes. Anybody else?
Turning pain into song.
Turning pain into a song. Yes, Monica.
Confronting a family member.
Confronting a family. Confronting a family member what?
Yeah, for the sake of healing.
For the sake of healing. Yes, confronting a family member for the sake of healing. Yes, we all have something. We might not want to shout it out loud, but I want you to think about it. Because it's really that shift of oh, I feel like a victim. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's kind of natural to have something terrible happen and go, why is this happening to me? To have that good cry and that good anger, because that's energy that wants to be moved to arrive at a clearer place, right? But it doesn't mean that we have to be a martyr. It doesn't mean that we seek out the suffering. We know there's suffering happening on the planet. And my suffering isn't separate from yours, and yours isn't separate from mine, and mine isn't separate from children in Syria, from women in Rwanda, from people who are going through horrendous things. The invitation is to know that there's love, to keep our heart open and to allow that movement of love and open move us into action, which we're going to talk about next month. It really just invites us, these questions, why me, why not me, why me? It just invites us to look at life from a different angle, in a different way, in a different light, to have an opening. Wow, me means, oh, I get to demonstrate this teaching. It's not just entertainment. It's not just in books, right? I get to experience more love. I get to open to my inherent abundance. I get to celebrate my birthright. I get to know a deeper wisdom. I get to arrive at a more expanded way of being in the world. And that's my gift. So one of my doctors that I spoke to this week said something at the end of our visit after he started talking about consciousness. Yes, I knew he was the right person. I was waiting for him to bring up that conversation. He said to me, Frankie, enjoy the ride. I've never had a doctor tell me when I'm having an interesting experience, a cold or something, no, but more chronic, say to me, enjoy the ride. I knew what he meant. And I realized that I'm almost there. I would not have used the word joy and enjoy, but embrace and celebrate and be curious and get excited about the possibilities and how it can expand my ministry. Yes, yes. And so this week I was meditating and I had this thought in my mind where that kept coming, and it said, you can gnaw on the bone or you can suck out the marrow. And I realized we all do both. But personally, I prefer to suck out the marrow. And that doesn't mean just in some experiences that I love, but all of life and all experiences. And so, can we be in this place when we go, why me? To not judge it, but just go, oh, that's interesting. I just had an opinion or a feeling or an experience that feels limited. To, well, why not? And how can I embrace that and grow and learn from it and arrive at a place of, wow, me, which means I have the consciousness to expand in such a way that the experience can be a gift and a blessing. So let's now have some more music with the amazing Kim and Joe. And then you get to hear from Michael. The one thing I want to still tell you about with Michael is that Michael is doing a workshop a week from this Monday called Unlock the Sacral Chakra. This is the flyer that we've been passing around everywhere online, Unlock the Sacral Chakra, and that is on the 26th. It's a Monday from 7 to 8:30. So Michael has become a wonderful, wise teacher, and he brings some incredible gifts. You'll hear him in a minute. So he will share with you, and he will close our wonderful celebration.
Some days I'm helpless, asking God why me. The stress is too much. much to bear, and I wanna break free. But every lesson I've ever learned has taught me wisdom, strength, and empathy. So what if I flip the script of why me too, why not me? 'Cause I've learned more from pain than pleasure. I've gained more love than I can measure. I know life flies by way too fast, not to embrace, not to treasure the beauty that's there in each sunrise. This too shall pass, and I'm glad to be alive. I'm taking the good with the bad, asking why not me? Why not me? Why does a flower love the rain as much as the sun? When leaves fall from trees, do they weep that their life is done? There's no good or bad when living in the light of simple truth. So if I can learn from God's green earth, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. 'Cause I've learned more from pain than pleasure. I've gained more love than I can measure. I know life flies by way too fast, not to embrace, not to treasure the beauty that's there with each sunrise. This too shall pass, and I'm still alive. I'm taking the good with the bad, asking why not me? And well, Joe. Cause I've learned more from pain than pleasure. I've gained more love than I can measure. I know life goes by way too fast, not to embrace, not to treasure the beauty that's there with each sunrise. This too shall pass, yeah, I'm still alive. I'm taking the good with the bad. Yeah, I'm taking the good with the bad. I'm taking the good with the bad, asking why not me? Why not me? Pretty in sync there, right? Take it out, Jill. Why not me?
Woo-hoo, awesome. She wrote that this week.
Hello, is this thing on yet? Hello, hello, hello. There we go. That was beautiful. And you were worried that it was last minute. That was 3 days ago she put that together. Pretty awesome. Thank you, Reverend Frankie. Welcome, everybody. It's great to be here. It's interesting, you might actually think what I'm talking about right here, that Reverend Frankie and I sat and talked about the whole thing through, all the way through, because everything you talked about is like right in line with it. But we're going to get a little more scientific. So I know, how many people out there have heard of Joe Dispenza?
Yay!
All right, so a few of us know out there for sure about him. So we're going to talk a little bit about him and his Rewired series today. So I wrote something down to support the topic, obviously, from a scientific perspective. So inevitably, this teaching, the science of mind, is obviously the science of our brain, and the science of how we use it, and how we use it emotionally, and how we use it in our experiences every day. So the topic, stepping into the unknown, can sound quite scary, yet was it all that scary when we were kids? I mean, we did it naturally every day. In most cases, rather than it being scary, it was more often exhilarating and exciting, wasn't it? You know, I mean, you learn, you meet people that become your long-lasting friends. And you just have your firsts in everything, you know, your first kiss, your first experience swimming, or all of those things. And they're all exciting. And even though they're scary, that fear, when you propel that into action and you just repeat it over and over and over again, it starts becoming part of your muscle memory or part of your subconscious. And the unknown becomes known. So what happens though over time in our experiences is that our analytical minds become developed fully somewhere around the age 13, and then when we repeat these experiences over and over again as our analytical mind is involved, then, you know, with some of them being terrible and then some of them being amazing, all mixed in together, suddenly the more we know, the more we begin to fear, get angry, and judge, and more. And now it's not all black and white, I know, because many of the things that become known become habitual because they feel great, at least for a while. And some of these things give us a sense of security, and some of them give us a sense of pride and accomplishment, and we're even paid more for work when we can prove our knowledge on paper, sometimes anyway these days. So a very familiar saying is knowledge is power. We've heard that all the time, right? But what if one piece of that knowledge could be, as we know, knowing how to take dominion over the unknown? So any real progress that's been made in this world has been made by doing just that, you know, in our whole world too. So it's typically catapulted by some brave souls that are continuing to step into the unknown as adults and creating from that space something that we previously didn't know, and then our greatest accomplishments in human history have been a result of that. So it's so much better for us though to create from that space than to create from fear, but a lot of times we unconsciously create from fear. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, in his scientific understanding of things, how he talks about how things get hardwired into our brain through repetition. He says that neurons that fire together wire together, which is Hebb's law. He didn't create that, but it's been there for a while. And on a series in Gaia.com called Rewired, Dr. Dispenza explains how most of us think the same 80% of our thoughts the same day in and day out. You know, everything, we repeat these same thoughts 80% of the time. So we recreate our lives each day with mostly the same thoughts. And the reason for this, as he explains, is because neural connections in our brains wired together and created neural pathways and neural networks tied to our experiences. So we literally get stuck in a homeostasis or a status quo of our own making. So then we most often stumble through life on autopilot, thinking those same thoughts, perpetuating the same personality, and finally recreating our personal reality day in and day out. So sure, perhaps that's fine if you're completely comfortable with your life, but what happens when the whole world is shaken up? We've all seen that this past year for sure. So how do we create new neural networks that take charge of the unknown instead of waiting for the unknown to rock us to the core and then creating new neural networks based off of that fear, right? So we're in luck when it comes to the science of mind teaching because we have tools to work with that and they allow us to do just that. And it's, you know, it's such a gift to be here and have the tools that we have, the spiritual mind treatment, right? So, but as Dr. Joe, who also practices these principles from a scientific angle, maybe not using science of mind terminology, he says the best way to predict the future is to create it. And when we really dive into that spiritual mind treatment, isn't that what we're doing, you know? So our thought paired with our belief and our emotion is literally an unstoppable force. We can't refuse to create, ever, even if we try to. So the caveat is everything we think, everything we believe, and everything we emote is literally creating our reality together. Not just some thoughts, some beliefs, and some feelings. And sure, some are more dominant than others, so they take more precedent in our life, but we're really constantly creating all the time. So we do this in spiritual mind treatment and also in meditation. And meditation's simple definition when it comes to this can be just holding our concentration on something specific, which is what spiritual mind treatment aims to do. And in this case, I invite you to think now about how you can be the change you want to see in the world, rather than wishing and waiting for it. And as Gandhi so eloquently put it years ago, although he said, you know, be the change you want to see in the world, I would say be the change you want to see in your world. Right, so we can make the unknown known in our lives by creating a picture in our minds of exactly what we want to see. Not just creating the mental picture, but feeling it as if it were already so. So here's some of the greatest quotes I've heard in the series, the Rewired series by Joe Dispenza. He says, this is a time in history where it's not enough to know. This is a time in history to know how, and to apply it for that matter. And then he says, being supernatural is to be able to change your body by thought alone. So we're constantly creating that supernatural experience here. And he says also, in addition to being supernatural, that being supernatural would also mean to be able to change some predictable future destiny or event, and that is to be greater than time. So he also says, is this something that's only reserved for ancient yogis, mystical teachers, mystical masters, and superheroes? Is it fantasy? Or is there proof that every human being has the potential to heal themselves, and in a sense to become supernatural? So I highly recommend that series if you haven't seen it yet, because it's just mind-blowing how the mind functions to the body, functions to the experience, and functions to the habit patterns in creating our personality. So, I mean, he says, just to give a little piece of that, he says biologically and biochemically, it goes through our bodies, and we have three brains, in a sense. We have the neocortex, which is our rational or thinking brain, the seat of the conscious mind, the CEO of the brain, that allows us to focus our concentration, to invent, to speculate, to set intentions, and focus attention. So it's our creative center. And then the limbic brain, which is the emotional or feeling brain, and then the reptilian brain, which is our instinctual or dinosaur brain. So, which really, we're typically stuck in the limbic brain and the reptilian parts of our brain most of the time, once we're thinking those same 80% thoughts, 80% of the same thoughts day in and day out, primarily using our analytical brains to analyze what's already been created. So, it does us best to be able to take that analytical mind and create something new, as I said earlier. So every time you learn something new, you make new connections in your brain, and as you create from those networks, you literally transform your body, your emotions, and your whole experience. So he also says that in the latest research in neuroscience, it's been shown that 1 hour of focused concentration or one concept or idea literally doubles the number of connections in your brain, literally producing physical evidence as a result of your interaction with your environment. So this is why meditation is such a powerful tool, where we can internalize new thought, new emotion, and we can create some new reality, propelling it forward with our conscious mind intentionally. So then Dr. Joe says the next step is to take this information and to personalize it, and finally to demonstrate it. If you can do this properly, you can get your behavior to match your intentions, you can get your actions equal to your thoughts, you can get your mind and body working together, you're going to have a new experience. So again, in Science of Mind, we use spiritual mind treatment, but it's more than mind, like I said. When we look at it from Dr. Joe's perspective, and we use this affirmative prayer, we're treating our mind, our feelings, our emotions, and our bodies into a new reality. So if we hope to truly pull something from the unknown, and I'm talking about an unknown experience here, into the known, Dr. Joe also says that the best way to predict the future is to create it. So we create the future in our minds and literally believe, feel, and experience it in the mind as if it's already present in 3D reality, because it's first created in the mind, what we learn here. So we have to then eradicate the thoughts that defeat the treatment, but also any beliefs, feelings, or emotions that are opposed to this new truth if we're to demonstrate effectively all around. And that's through our daily lives, because we might leave here and speak a treatment and feel it, an intention, and then we say, okay, we're using that let and go step, and then we just let it go. And then all the rest of our behavior throughout the week might be completely opposing that entire treatment. So even if you don't say your treatment every single day, you still want to make sure that you're cultivating that mindset, right? So we train the body to be the vessel, not for the current experience, to be the mind instead. We create new neural pathways tied to new belief, new emotions, new thought, and new demonstration. Our power then doubles with the introduction of something new, and in turn, signals sent to the body are doubled as well. So it's the confidence of your intention, paired with specific, very detailed, focused attention, that creates far faster than anything we can do physically to create a new experience. So in a sense, make the unknown known holistically and enter into the vast universe of the one conscious mind back of all things, which we know is a limitless power. So in closing, the unknown is already known in the one mind. All we have to do is walk into the light, give it our undivided attention, and claim our choice to step into that brand new reality fearlessly in the direction of the full experience of our highest selves, which I call heaven on earth. And just real quickly, I'll say that, I use that spiritual mind treatment that we do for myself. A year ago, last April, I weighed 42 pounds more than I do now. And for the first 3 weeks, 2 or 3 nights out of the week, I was eating ice cream, and I was eating like a half a pizza, at least once or twice a week. I didn't change my exercise routines. I didn't change really anything about my daily routines. I just changed what I held in my consciousness. I saw what I wanted to look like at the weight that I wanted to be. Not, I saw myself losing weight. I saw myself in the mirror and said, oh, that's still there, or that I step on the scale and talk about my weight, to myself on a regular basis. I just consistently held that in my mind, and then as I consistently used affirmative treatment, I was inspired slowly but surely to do a couple little things here and there a little bit differently. But I really didn't change very much about my diet or exercise routines from the previous year, which I wasn't treating for it, and I was gaining weight. So not changing my daily routines, but just changing what happens in the mind can have such an incredible effect for us. So that is it. And then I will just say a couple little closing announcements for us today. And forgive me for reading. I admire Reverend Frankie so much for being able to just spew off the top of her head like that. But I'm getting there. I wrote some stuff down. So I was glued to this a little bit, but that's okay. So first of all, there's several ways you can give to support our center that you may or may not know already over there at the Breeze link that's on the website, or you can text to give at the 973-834-6840 number, which is also on the website, I believe, right?
And there's extra flyers on the back about that.
And there's extra flyers that have that information, yes, thank you. And, or you can call the office and leave a message, the phone number's on that as well, or mail your donations to the center. And we're continuing to offer this on Facebook and YouTube live, and then it's also, the live streams are always there, so you guys can always pick those up and send them off or share them on your social media pages. So thank you so much for being here and listening to me today and listening to all of us. And thanks for the music, guys, it was great. And yeah, I'm just grateful to be here. So just gonna put us into a nice little closing treatment with all of that in mind. I know that there is one mind, one creative force of love and compassion, and with infinite potential reality at its disposal. And this one mind that I choose to call God works through each and every one of us, right here and right now, each and every person in this room, and everyone in this entire world. And if you'd like to join me in stating this affirmation for yourself inside your head. I know that each and every moment that I step into the unknown, that there is this one mind that already knows exactly what needs to come forth, and that one mind is what is propelling its creative energy through me, through my mind, through my emotions, through my daily activities, and I'm continuously inspired to grow, to love, to share in community, to raise each other up here on this planet into a much more amazing reality than we've ever thought we've known. And so I'm very grateful that we have this opportunity where everything in the world is being shaken up for that incredible creative power and energy to come through and drive our lives forward. And so I know this, I trust this, I have faith in this, and I know that this is coming through us all right here and right now. I release these words into the law, knowing that this is already done, and so it is. Thank you very much.
Sometimes the invisible can bring the world to its knees. We all have a choice to live in fear or live in peace. Sometimes the invisible can bring us all together, finding new ways to help us all live better. Times of stress, will you rise up? When times are hard, will you give love? Now's the time to shine your light and shine it bright. 'Cause that's the only way, the only way. too much in our heads, feeling sad. In times of stress, will you rise up? In times are hard, will you give love? Now's the time to shine your light and shine it bright. 'Cause that's the only way, the only way to fight the invisible. Are you the doubting Thomas who needs to touch to believe?